What's going on, guys? My name is Eric and this is First Thing in the Morning. Now recently I've been getting a lot of really good wrestling questions, pretty much from one person, but a lot of good questions nonetheless. Now the questions today come from @itsmotherk, also known as Social Media Wife. Now she always knocks it out of the park with her wrestling questions, so I thought I'd do a little Q&A video to answer some of her wrestling questions. Now before I start this, I just want to say that if you would like to get your very own Broski Club t-shirt, now you can. DM me on Twitter for more details. Our first question here is, do you agree with the heel turn of AJ Styles? 100%. I love the way that they did this. It kind of looked for a second like Cena and AJ were going to like band together and fight against the club, and then John Cena throws his t-shirt out to someone in the crowd, turns back around, AJ hits him right in the face. I love this. It even fooled me. I thought they were definitely going to go Cena AJ against the club, but they didn't, and I can't be happier about it. I think it's great. AJ is a really convincing heel in WWE, and I think he's done a good job. It's only been 2 weeks, I'll give it that, but I think he's done a really good job so far at playing up that heel character, especially with his promos and the things that he says. Now if you have Cena versus AJ on the mic, right there, that sells your match, and I believe that the match has a potential. And to be honest, let's get this out right now. AJ versus Cena is the main event of Money in the Bank. Up next, we have, do you think the brand split will hit the tag team division in a positive or a negative way? Just by watching the product currently, you have your answer. I don't think it's going to do the tag team division any good, because besides the New Day, Enzo, and Cass, who do you really think could actually compete for that title? Now, some people might say the club. Okay, the club could challenge, and they are going to be challenging for the title in that fatal four-way match at Money in the Bank. But really, has the club been built up to be that impressive since they debuted? Personally, I don't think so. I think they've been more AJ's lackeys than anything else. So I don't see them as a credible threat, even though they should be. So do I think the brand split will help? Definitely not. No, I think it's going to hurt the tag team division. And even if they call up a bunch of tag teams from NXT, you still have to build up these tag teams to make them mean something and for us to get invested. And I just don't see WWE putting that much time and effort into a bunch of teams all at once. Continuing with the brand split now, should Smackdown get their own titles? No, absolutely not. I do not want to see that. WWE has enough trouble making the current titles they have actually be credible titles that adding more would just further complicate that problem. I don't want to see this. No extra titles. If they're really hell-bent on keeping one title exclusive, just put the IC title on Raw and the US title on Smackdown and everything will be fine. We don't need more titles. She wants to know any old titles that Smackdown should resurrect. Now, I've seen a lot of talk of having the women be exclusively on Smackdown and have the Cruiserweights be on Raw. So, if this were to happen, if this were to be the case, I think bringing the Cruiserweight title back would be a good idea. You could highlight a different form of wrestling, and in a 3-hour show, we need some variety. It would be a good idea. I think if you're going to have to bring a title back, if they're hell-bent on bringing back or adding titles, I think the Cruiserweight title is the only real one you can make a legitimate case for. Who should the headliners be for each show following the brand split? Very easy question. I think this is a pretty good idea. And the feuds, the way that they're set up right now, perfectly demonstrate that. You got AJ Styles and John Cena on one side. You could put them on SmackDown. Then you got Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. And there you go. You got 4 big names, 2 on each show, and you just split the roster up between the 2 other shows. Hell, have them jump back and forth and just make those 4 guys exclusive on those shows. And our final question for the day, do you think SmackDown will get the same opportunities as Raw, or are they destined to continuously fail even following the brand split? Now, if you remember a couple years ago when Paul Heyman was running things, SmackDown was better than Raw. And honestly, even today, arguably, SmackDown is better than Raw simply because it is a 2-hour wrestling show. They cut out all the filler. Sure, you get your Raw recaps and whatnot, but it just doesn't drag on as long as Monday Night Raw. And I know a thing or two about SmackDown because I review it every single week for kayfabetoday.com. That's right, cheap plug, I'll never stop. So yeah, I think that SmackDown definitely has a chance to be better than Raw, and if it's not already there, well then it could definitely happen in the near future. But personally, I just think the 1 hour less makes the show better. It just makes it flow better, it makes it easier to watch, and you don't have to sit there forever. So there you have it, guys. That was day 1 of my 2-day wrestling Q&A. All questions from social media wife at It's Mother K on Twitter. Go give her a follow. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram for all the latest first thing in the morning news. Go give the Facebook fan page a like at facebook.com/FTitM. Be sure to hit me up on Twitter to figure out how you can get your very own Broski Club t-shirt, and visit kayfabetoday.com for a bunch of great wrestling related content. And until tomorrow, I leave you, but I shall return with more answers to your wrestling questions.